Okay, testing. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Okay. Am I coming through clear? I want to flex. Welcome to another episode of Unique Moments, where I talk about things from a unique perspective. So I was talking with a friend, and I had an idea to talk about in our conversation. So we were kind of talking about homeless people and homelessness, and the thoughts that came to my mind were, so my friend had said something like, when you give people money, specifically homeless people, but when you give people money or things, whatever they do with it is kind of out of your control, and you basically have given them permission to do whatever they will with it, because now it's theirs and not yours, and life goes on. But I think sometimes, specifically with homeless people are always, not everybody, but I think some people who do give money, or whatever you may give, we're like attached to, oh, what are they going to spend it on? Are they going to spend it on drugs? Are they going to buy food? Do they have money? Do they need this money? And it's not even about that. It's literally about the act of giving. One, that's between you and God, because whether you wanted to give it willingly, unwillingly, against your will, whatever, he knows your heart. He's coming for you. And then second, that's between that person and what they want to do with their money. When you get money from your paycheck, no one's telling you how to spend it. You pay your rent, pay your bills, buy nice things, but no one's telling you you have to do with this. Your job isn't saying, I gave you this money, now go do something useful with it. And I feel like that's kind of what we do whenever we give money to people and are either like upset or offended by what they spend it on, or if they didn't use it for its intended purpose, it's like frowned upon or something. But either way, the topic of the conversation was basically how, like, what if some homeless people don't want to be saved? Like, I feel like we all, let me not say all, but I think it's a common conception that homelessness is a problem. And while homelessness is a problem, yes, because of the associations with violence and crime and poverty, and we don't need people on the streets. Like, we don't need human beings sleeping on the streets. Shit, give over. Like, we don't need that. We don't need people sleeping on the streets. We don't need people not being able to have food and water and things that they need for basic survival. So it is a problem in that sense. But what we were talking about was, what if we're trying to fix a problem that people don't want fixed? Like, what if some people don't really want to be saved? I feel like there's a large population of homeless people that aren't homeless by choice. Maybe they got kicked out, maybe they lost their home, etc., etc. There's so many different reasons why people are homeless. They could come from a bad home, they could just not know where to go, they could be abandoned, they could lose their parents, their caregiver. So many different reasons why people would not choose to be homeless and are homeless. But I think on the flip side of that, do you ever think about how many people are homeless by choice? Like, how many people don't want the responsibilities of having a home and having a car and paying bills? That's a lot. It's a lot to literally just live and exist in society. And it's expensive. It's really expensive. And granted, maybe some people are homeless because they don't have jobs and yada yada, but who's to say they want a job? That's the thing. And maybe it's not realistic in a capitalist society, but I think we don't account for the people who don't want to work, don't want a job, but they also don't want to be homeless and not have access to basic food and water and shelter and healthcare. It's like, can we not can we not build that? Can we not build that? Because I also feel like homeless people are looked down upon. It's like, clean it up. Clean it up and go get a job and work like the rest of us. Clean it up, go get a job, work like the rest of us so you can get your own shit, pay your bills, and we don't have to give you money to support you. You don't have to beg on these streets to support you. You don't have to sell your ass on these streets or whatever they're doing. They might not be doing that. But I feel like as working people or even as just people who have money or have things, it's it's almost, I'm not going to say they're not our equal because they are. I believe every human being is equal inherently. We all have different gifts and talents, and there's levels. There's definitely levels, but I'm no better than you and you're no better than me. I'm no worse than you and you're no worse than me. And I think the same goes for them. But I think when we see homeless people in whatever state they are, maybe they haven't showered, maybe they're not groomed, maybe they don't have a haircut, maybe they don't have nice clothes, maybe they don't even have shoes on, but they're no worse than you and they're no worse than me and they're no better than you and they're no better than me. And I think we forget that because we make it about ourselves. It's like, well, if I could do it, what's stopping you? And we don't know what's going on. And 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to say that every homeless person has a mental illness or they have some struggle or something going on, because maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. And maybe they don't have a unique situation. Maybe they just don't have a home. And so they're living on the streets and their quality of life is diminished because they're living on the streets. I think that's tragic. But I also want to hold space for, going back to the conversation, the point that I brought up was that, maybe some people don't want to be safe because they are homeless by choice. And so, what do you say to that? Because I feel like, again, that's not met with empathy. We're like, oh, well, that's your decision, figure it out. And hear me out. While we are all responsible for our own lives and well-being and how we maneuver and navigate through the world, I think it's just tough. It's just really tough. Just because some people have so much and some people just don't. And some people just don't. And that's not to say that they can't get it. It's not to say that they can't get it. But I think you're just in a different mindset. It's a huge difference waking up every day in your bed, in your home, with your phone or alarm clock or natural circadian rhythm, or and you have a home cooked meal, or maybe you can go buy breakfast, and maybe you can go to get a workout in, and then you can read a book, listen to a podcast, scroll through, the luxury to scroll through social media for minutes or hours or however long you're scrolling, and then go to work if you want to. If you want to, if you need to, if you have to, it's still a luxury. You get to. You get to. Even the people who hate your jobs, you get to. You get to get a paycheck. You get to spend your money on what you want to spend your money on. You get to pay your bills. And some people don't have that. And some people don't have that because they don't want that. But some people don't have that because they just don't have that. And I think we just group all homeless and unfortunate and less fortunate and these people together. And I don't think they belong together. I don't think they belong in the streets, and I don't think they belong together. Where would they go, do you ask? Tis the question. Tis the question. Because shelters are only so, it's just weird. It just seems like we don't have enough. We don't have enough money for a population of people to have things, not even nice things. They don't have to be nice. And they should be nice because we all deserve nice things, but they could just be things. They could just be basic clothes, food, water, fruit, but like, but I feel like they just kind of get discarded. And like some of them, I don't know. I just think it's like people like, it's so easy to make money nowadays. You can literally get on TikTok and do. Some people don't have a phone. Like some people don't have a phone. Some people don't have bank accounts to receive this internet income. Some people don't have these things, and it's harder to get these things without these things. Even the act of getting a job, applying for a job, like a lot of the time you have to have bank account information, and you have to have maybe an email address or a home address. How can they get the job without the home address? And then they're just not credible. And maybe they're not credible. Maybe they don't deserve that job. But hear me out. Maybe they do. Maybe they deserve the job better than the 22-year-old that got the job just because